We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Recently, I had a chance to take a walk in the giant redwoods down in California. I learned a crazy thing about these giant trees that are the tallest and strongest looking things on earth. They have no taproot. And you know what happens when the storm gets rough in their lives? They topple over. How do we remain not only strong looking on the surface, but actually develop that taproot that we need, that central source of something, whatever it is, that channels strength beyond what we are capable of generating, that allows us to keep doing the good work that we do, working either directly or indirectly with people who are homeless is a consuming and an exhausting experience. Unless we have an inner sense of spiritual integrity, this is not the kind of work that we can do for the long haul without it draining us until we ourselves discover that we are as homeless spiritually as the people we are trying to help. All of us have bad days. I remember a day during the last horrible administration when I called up a mentor of mine, an activist, and said, how do you keep doing this? How do you go out there on days when you feel certain that you're losing? And he said to me, I don't go out there to win. I go out there because this is who I am. I can do no other. We're not in this to win. I think it's important for all of us to be able to entertain that possibility. It is possible that within our lifetimes, we will not get to the top of the mountain. We will not achieve the promised land. It is possible that the work we do has the blessed privilege of not making it worse for the people with whom we interact. How do we maintain our sense that the work we do is meaningful if we cannot clearly see a goal achieved? It's easy if the work is narrowly focused on a ballot measure or on a measurable objective such as a safe rest village. What happens when we take on consciously a sense of the larger deluge? And when we look at which way the wind is blowing and the branches of our trees suffer in the storm, how do we stay upright and strong that we might support all the life, all the different life forms that have come to know our strength and depend on it? Where does the taproot go? None of us are paid enough to do this. Yet there's something so much more fulfilling in what we are able to do. So I want to offer you a couple of ideas for maintaining your strength and the strength of your taproot. You probably know already all about things like taking time for yourself to meditate, to do body work. There are a myriad of ways in which you can learn to detox from the stress of a day. But there has to be something bigger beyond that work. Because if all you're doing is coming back to stasis every day, you haven't answered the question of why. Why stay in this work? It all has to come down to a matter of the belief in the preciousness of every single life, yours and the individual you are helping in that moment. So one of the things I want to offer you as a short checklist, first is greet each person as a person. That may not be difficult when you're working with a client or when you're greeting someone on the street that you know. But what about when you're dealing with someone who you see as an opponent politically, or as an opponent fighting against you for the same support from the system? You are a human being. That person is a human being. Once upon a time, we were all tiny babies. Within each one of us is a spark of something beyond us. We are somehow connected, even to people we don't like. You may have been given the advice once when you were learning to give a speech. Imagine that everybody out there looking at you is in their underwear. I invite you to consider everyone with whom you interact in a way that might cause your blood pressure to go up. Try thinking about them in their underwear. But most of all, seriously, how about thinking about that opponent as someone who is suffering in their own way, just as much as the person you are dedicated to help on the street, in the tent, in the cold? Second, do you remember the story The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein? I remember, I believe it was in the 70s, having that story read to me by someone who clearly didn't understand something about the message, because it was never explained that you should never let yourself become like the giving tree. And so you may have already been told, watch your boundaries. Don't ever let anybody lop off more of you than you can regenerate. But I'd like to couch it within these terms of recognizing that we are all interconnected and all interdependent. If you do not have the boundaries that allow you to take care of yourself, meaning that you don't work too many hours, you can choose to work more hours, right? Of course, if you choose, but that you don't work more hours than you feel that you can manage in a healthy fashion by balancing it out somewhere else in your life. Because otherwise, you can't hold up your little piece of the universe. Unless you still have your boughs, you can't hold up your piece of the sky. There is no healthy tree in the world that doesn't maintain strong boughs. You can only have strong boughs if you have strong roots. So what are you connected to? What's going to allow you not to demonize the people with whom you disagree, the people you loathe? What's going to allow you to continue to focus on yourself as either no less or no more than everyone with whom you interact? What's going to help you on days when no amount of money makes it work worth what you're going through? What's going to help you on the days when you don't think you're going to win? It doesn't work to be a martyr. The system does not thrive on martyrs. If you remember the end of the Monty Python movie, Life of Brian, and if you haven't seen it lately, go back and see it. There's a bunch of people who show up toward the end to protest the crucifixion, and they all pull out daggers and kill themselves. It's all very nice. They're martyrs. It's cute, but it's absurd. Nobody needs martyrs. The only way that we can maintain our own sense of mental wellness on days when we don't know where we're going with this problem that seems to be bigger than all of us and getting worse is by remembering that we only have today. This is what I'd like to offer you. We can spend most of our energy planning the future or reliving the past, regretting the past, remonstrating over the past, being embarrassed by the past. That keeps us safely in yesterday, mired in guilt. And if we always spend our time planning for tomorrow, true, we can entertain all kinds of hopes, but you and I may not get there. How are you going to get through this day if we're not focused on this day? On a day when everything else goes wrong, we're alive. The miracle of this life in which so many people are sharing with us, all doing what we can to survive. But each one of us ignoring more often than not the simple miracle that you are here. A succession of so many miracles had to happen over so many centuries for you to be born. You are a miracle. Just by being, you are a miracle. Send that down into your taproot, into the miraculous, which surrounds all of us. We do not live alone. Trees underneath the ground seem to be connected over long distances, even though they seem very singular above ground. It's been said that when one tree is attacked, it sends a distress signal to other trees. You are no more individual and single than a tree, although you may seem that way and you may feel that way. But such an important part of our strength as individuals is being aware of the fact that we are actually all interconnected in so many ways that we're unaware of. If you're in a room full of people all meditating, it has an effect on your brain waves that's different if you're meditating in a room by yourself. We need each other to thrive. Somewhere out there beyond your singleness, that taproot of yours is drinking from the same golden lake that feeds us all. How do you keep that channel open? Take a little bit of time and feel it. The sense that you are connected to something outside yourself. Just the way I am, just the way we all are. On some level, at some insane height, looking down at all of us. As Bette Midler sang and Carl Sagan spoke, We all look like friends, and it makes no sense at all for us to aggravate each other the way we do. How to maintain that sense that we're all connected. We're all in this together. And on some level, we're all doing the best we can to get through this thing called life. We care so much about what we do that the differences between how I feel and how you feel about the solution to a problem, be it local, national, worldwide, when we disagree, it doesn't have to cause us upset. If we can admire the passion, when we're focused on someone who we absolutely feel is inimical to all positive things in the world, we don't have to put in the energy to demonize them. We can keep that energy. Your tree, the tree that you are, will only stand firm, rooted, nourished by its taproot if we're able to focus first and foremost on the work we do being enough for today, and today being miraculous in itself is the only day we really have. If we focus on end goals and deliverables for the purpose of funding, the purpose of staff morale, there are so many good reasons. That makes sense in its place, as long as we don't worship it, as long as we don't forget that goals are just a way of thinking. In my tradition, we say, justice, justice, you must pursue, which we take to mean we must pursue justice justly. Not only does that mean that ends and means must both be justified and not one at the expense of the other, but it also means that the way in which we move toward a goal should not be subservient to the goal over time. Today is its own gift. Sometimes our challenge is simply to see the beauty in this day. If it's a long day or a hard day, is it possible to appreciate the fact that you were up to it? If not, go back to that taproot. Seek out that energy from beyond yourself. It's going to help you get through. Only when we stay aware of our context and our content, the ways in which we are part of something so much bigger than we are as individual life forms, and the ways in which it matters. There may be no echo in the cosmos. There may be no plan to reality. There may be no God. There may be no echo of compassion in the void. These things may not exist. It doesn't matter. Because in our little island, where we function, where we come together and share our values, that yes, it is good to alleviate suffering, that yes, it is worthwhile to help another person. These things create the world I want to live in. In my tradition, we are told that we are co-creators with the holy, co-creators with Hashem, with God. We don't have any sense that God is going to come and fix everything for us. God has given a gorgeous ground of being. It's up to us not to screw it up. And it's up to us to continue to create it. But even if there is no God, we are here, surrounded by these incredible gifts. The sun comes up. My hand works. I can open it and offer it to you. These are the things that fill my soul and fill up my taproot. It doesn't matter if it echoes into eternity. It matters here, today, right now. It matters how we treat each other. Kindness toward yourself, exercised toward everyone else the best you can, will come back and feed you and keep you strong. We can't be sure of anything other than what we carry with us. May your vision of why you get up in the morning stay strong to carry you through each day. And may you never be moved from your place, nurtured through your taproot at the golden lake of all that is the miracle of life.